Listen.
Posłuchaj.
Écoute.
Roma.
Escucha. MCO.
Listen.
MCO.
MCO.
Between the Bars.
Hi, I'm Yannick Dondelinger, and welcome to Between the Bars, the podcast of the Mahler Chamber Orchestra. When I was a child, travelling was for special occasions. A trip into London, a long weekend visiting my aunt a few hours' drive away, or even a one-off high school trip abroad. But the routines of daily life for my family were based at home. That was how I grew up in the 1970s and 80s, along with probably most other average kids of my generation. Today, though, society is infinitely more mobile. And of course, the Mahler Chamber Orchestra and its members' private lives are pushing the envelope. This 3-part miniseries is called Kids on Board, and it's about 2 MCO founding musician members, violinist Johannes Lörstad and oboist Emma Schied, and their lives before and since having children in the Mahler Chamber Orchestra. Oh, and about those sounds you can hear in the background. We're recording these episodes in the south of France, where the MCO family is performing at the Festival of Aix-en-Provence. It's about 35 degrees in the shade. And while the crickets are beating out their own music, inside our rented house, a very young MCOer is practicing the piano.
Down.
10-year-old Mathilda Lörstad is the girl on the piano, and Oliver, the boy with her in the pool, is my son. You're going to hear a lot more from them as producer Matthias Mayr interviews them about their own thoughts on being kids of touring musicians. It's a romantic picture of touring family life with the Mahler Chamber Orchestra. 3 founding members, me, Emma Schied and Johannes Lörstad, with our families sharing a house on an MCO summer project. There are about 12 of us, 3 generations, MCOers, their kids and some grandparents, living together in this idyllic spot, among fields of lavender, vineyards, and with a view out to the 1,000-metre-high Montagne Saint-Victoire, beloved by French painter Paul Cézanne. Too good to be true, really, that the combination of an MCO career and family life is still possible after 25 years on the road. But it's been a lot of hard work, a lot of talent, sweat and inspiration, damn good parental planning, and the most amazing life partners a bunch of musicians could ever be lucky to have fallen in love with. So let's go back to the beginning. 25 years ago, we came to play Mozart's comic opera Don Giovanni at the Aix-en-Provence Opera Festival in 1998. You're listening to our iconic EMI recording that will be popping up throughout these episodes. We were all in our 20s. Our newly founded orchestra was barely 1 year old, and the world was our oyster. What are your strongest memories of this time before you had kids in MCO?
I think it was the best time to start a traveling chamber orchestra because almost no one, I think, had a other position at home. We were all free and we loved playing together, and then to start this chamber orchestra with Abado was just the best you could dream of, you know? And very few had family then, and I think maybe only one had children, Sergei. But apart from that, we were all young and free, and we had no obligations. So bearing that in mind, I think it was amazing to start, and almost a miracle that many of us can still be a member.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, maybe it was slightly easier for me because Joff and I were both in the orchestra, so we travelled together, which is means that you're not leaving your girlfriend, boyfriend, partner at home, and you're discovering things together in a couple as well as in an orchestra. I think for me it was just a big learning time, and it was a wonderful experience because it was completely intense. You know, some of the tours we were going on or being away together, for instance, the Don Giovanni episode, which went on forever and ever, it was a wonderful experience.
Would you say that your focus was not split in any way? It was like...
No, not at all. It was just basically you were on tour, you were learning to play with other musicians, learning about yourself as a musician, how to interact musically with other people, and it's a fascinating thing. Also, I think on tour is often where orchestras learn how to play differently because you're in a different hall maybe every night, or you're playing in different places. You learn how musicians can interact with each other, and it's a big learning process. I think you grow as a musician under those circumstances.
There were many things with Don Giovanni that made us into a good orchestra because first we were all there for half a year, Don Giovanni every evening, and to play a good piece of music that is so often, and with the conductor then, Daniel Harding, who worked with us every day. We had a rehearsal every day before the performance. He tried things out, we tried things out, made us really grow as musicians because it was a piece of music that is really good. We never got fed up with it. So
absolutely.
Crazy.
Just to add, I think we played Don Giovanni more than 90 times together. I mean, I know that Joff and what was his name, the Hungarian violinist? Gabor Barta. They played Don Giovanni without the music.
On stage,
they just said, "Okay, we do it." No, the whole opera.
Did they do the whole opera?
In the first violin?
Because I managed to do the overture. That's as far as I could.
They were like, "Tonight we do it." They turned the whole thing so that you could only see the back, and then they played the whole opera by heart.
It's a 3.5 hour opera.
I changed fingerings every performance.
Yeah.
To also challenge yourself.
Let's find this out.
Sapete quel che fa, sapete quel che fa, perché porti la gonnella, sapete quel che fa.
And you, Mathilda, your father plays the violin.
Yeah.
And do you go on tour often? You have done some tours already.
Yeah, I've come with him sometimes.
Yeah. And is it different, the life on tour, than life home?
Here.
What's different to home, to the time that
Well, it's a different place. It's another orchestra, and there's other people. So it sounds really nice, but it sounds a bit different.
What would you say is the best for you on a tour, when you're with your daddy?
Well, you can listen to lovely music. Mm-hmm. You can meet new people that you've maybe seen before. And you can go to different places that you haven't been before.
Listening to lovely music, meeting new people and visiting new places. Thanks, Mathilda, for such key words at such a tender age. She's already picking up on some of the same experiences and inspirations that her father Johannes has been lucky enough to have in his 25 years touring with the MCO. Well, I say some of the same experiences. Mathilda's still only 10 years old and maybe not quite ready yet for dating on tour. Although she and my son Oliver did hit it off pretty well this month in X. But being honest, love and romance are part of the course when you're young and on tour. And we're going to hear now from Johannes just how, in the early years of MCO, he got together with Sam, his wife. Mathilda, if you're listening, pay attention. Your daddy might not have told you about this particular episode.
I met Sam as a friend when the orchestra started. I had another girlfriend, she had another boyfriend, but then we got to know each other more and more, and especially during this Don Giovanni project that was long, and we met each other every day, starting as friends, but as it went on, we opened our email accounts in a hotel in Milano, for example. Things like that made us more and more realize that we really loved each other. And being part of a opera project and then meet your wife same time was very romantic. And both me and Sam was at that time quite hyper as a people. So many of our friends in the orchestra never thought, okay, this is too much, those two together. But we're still married, 3 kids, and it works out really well, so prove them wrong.
It's interesting with you and Sam, because she was a musician in the orchestra and then she went into a completely different profession to become a doctor. Have you learnt anything from her about, oh yes, there's a world outside what we love to do, and it's also quite important, and I'm not maybe the centre of the universe all the time?
Yes. I don't think I'm the centre of the universe, but yeah, you're right. No. I mean, one good thing that I actually hands-on that I learned is that when she started to decide to become a doctor, I had some concerts where I got kind of really nervous for something that was really demanding, and she just actually said, Johannes, listen, if you make a mistake, no one dies. If I make a mistake, people die. I mean, that's okay, fine, and that really made me. Okay, what we are doing is, of course, stressful, but if we make a mistake, we make it big in our head. And we should what we do is such a privilege and pleasure that we can keep doing this. So it's our job as musicians, it's our job to keep on our toes, to practice and do our best to keep it at a good level, not take anything for granted, but still have in mind what we do is on a level for entertaining, history making, stuff like that, but not life and death. So there is there are different varieties in life.
Well, it helps putting things in perspective, because it is true that we're in our practice rooms and we're, it's like this whole program now that we've done in X. It's been very intense. The pieces have been amazing, and there's been some hard things, and I've done a lot of practice. I have to say, I wanted to be super prepared because I'm a
like that
big
dedicated.
No, but also I'm a huge George Benjamin fan. Yeah. I just love his music, and I really, really, really wanted to play everything as good as I could. And you do get into this sort of train of thought that everything has to be perfect. He's there. You want it to be as good as you can. And then it's true that things can get a little, it becomes so important that you do precious. Everything perfectly, that all the dynamics, everything is right. And then, of course, you're right. Nobody dies if you make a mistake.
One thing that I also realized when Sam became a doctor, of course, I knew it before, everyone knows it, but I believe that in a good society, you need everything, because sometimes politicians say, come on, we can't afford classical music because it costs too much. We need to put the money in hospitals and schools. And we can't put those two against each other. No. Of course we need doctors, of course we need schools, but we also need music. We can't live without music, film, theatre.
I just wanted to add, it's nourishment for the spirit, and I don't think that we can neglect, or we shouldn't take that too lightly, that of course it's important to have doctors and nurses and wonderful teachers and of course learn how to earn money, which is what I think
musicians are very bad at doing.
No, but also in the schools, business and all these things. How do we grow the economy? And it's very much focused on in a way, earning money, but we can't underestimate how important it is to nourish our spirits with art, with music, and it really is very, very important.
Super cool. It's a different temperament, a different emotion than the song before, I would say.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Did you have that conversation? We want children. How is it going to work with the Mahler Chamber Orchestra? Did you have that conversation before children came along? Because it is such a specific thing to have a touring life with MCO linked with a home life. Did you ever say, okay, we want kids, how's this going to work?
Well, I think I really don't remember we must have discussed it, but it was, a little bit more complicated because we were on tour all the time. I think we just thought, maybe it's not possible. And that's also why we left it a bit later to have Oscar.
Okay.
I was also doing a lot of other things. I was in Budapest, I had contracts there, and I suppose, maybe I was a little bit more focused on my career in a way. I mean, the kids were always at the back of...
Musicians, they often have children later because of that.
And then I thought, this is really great, but maybe there's also something more out there, family-wise or whatever. And then we just said, okay, let's see if it works. And of course, in MCO, we hadn't had that many. There weren't any couples yet in the orchestra because Sam had already left, I think. We wondered how it would work. And then we were very lucky as well. We had lots of people we had my brother-in-law, Philippe, we had Joff's parents, we had my parents, and they all just...
Strong family help.
Yeah, they just said, we come on tour with you, we look after Oscar, we bring him to the rehearsals, and then he just came on tour with us for the first 3 years of his life, and it was brilliant. I mean, it was just, a family together travelling and making music, and it was really wonderful.
In my case, it wasn't... Well, it's never the right moment, I think, for anyone to have the baby. Never. It's always the wrong time in your life. You have too much going on and everything. So in the end, my wife said, listen, we can't just wait for the perfect moment. If we want to have a baby, let's try. So we tried and worked. but she did say, Johannes, but let's see, when we have a baby, I'm not sure MCO will be realistic. Just for me to start thinking, process that.
For her, probably, or for you, or for
the family. Yeah, for the family. To make a family work, you should be aware that maybe it's not going to be realistic.
Was that worst case scenario, kind of?
She said, just to start the thinking process, to be aware of that possibility. That if she says, this is way too much, I can't deal with you going away so much, you have to stop. And I said, fine, I have to agree to that, of course.
Is that always work in progress?
A bit. It was in beginning. Then it was kind of. We almost thought, fine, I should maybe hand in my notice because it's too much. But then we tried it again. I tried to, and then my father, who was then alive, he did a lot of help as well. So with that in mind, we managed to work. But of course, as all families, you have lows and ups. Yeah. So we've been through our 3 and 7 years crisis with everything, and then with MCO in mind as well, of course. Yeah. And I'm just super happy and lucky that we worked through all our issues we had as a family, but also as a MCO member. That now it feels amazing. So I can say that to all couples who have problems, it's worth working them out. It's worth, it's really worth it.
Music can work out all problems.
Yes.
Well, it's debatable. And I remember, it was very, very hard. And we got back from tour, and I remember driving in with a car from the airport, and Oscar was there, and he ran towards us, and then he sat on my lap, and he shook for hours. He couldn't believe we were there, and it was just, it was a hard thing to be away.
And Ollie, how's that for you when Yannick is on tour, when your papa is on tour? And do you miss him a lot?
Yeah.
Yeah? What you do then when you miss him a lot? Is there something that helps you?
Yeah, I got like a picture with me as a baby and my father holding me then. And that I always have at my bedside when he's gone.
And then when you miss him a lot, you can look at it and then he's close.
Oliver didn't say, but he sometimes sleeps with the picture clutched in his hands under the bed covers. Hats off to Oscar and Oliver for being so much braver than I ever was at their age. I couldn't even manage one night away from home. In the next episode, we're going to chat about possibly the toughest thing for parents on tour, being away from your child. We'll also talk about how the Mahler Chamber Orchestra had to change when dozens of babies started popping out, and what happens when you have to go to school. Between the Bars would like to say a huge thanks to singers Mark Padmore, Gilles Cachamet, Peter Matteo, Lisa Larson and Till Fechner for their fabulous performances from our EMI recording of Mozart's Don Giovanni. And also thanks to the lovely Mathilda Lörstad and Oliver Dondelinger, interviewed by producer Matthias Mayr. Between the Bars is Mahler Chamber Orchestra production. Keep listening.
Between the Bars.